Alrighty everyone, Super Slap here, back with another video. Today, we are going to be talking about Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 3. Yeah, I know the full season came out a few months ago because, majority of Part 2 did leak in April, and, a week after Part 1, which was very interesting. The fact that we didn't have to wait long, because it leaked the week after. And then literally almost all part two. Then we waited, and yeah, then we in August we got the last two, but majority of the season was literally out in April. So yeah, as you can see, so we are talking about Dragons Rising season 3. The reason I didn't make a video on this earlier is so we can talk about some season 4 theories and stuff like that because we have the set information out. So yeah. Alright, let's just get started and talk about this season right here. I'm gonna back it out here. I decided to start with that one because that one was such a nice poster compared to the one that was used right here, which looks pretty good, by the way. I mean, it is unfortunate, though. I am gonna say this: I don't think the Forbidden Five were that good in the season. And I'm pretty sure the Forbidden Five is gone, and I feel like we could have easily had it to two of the Forbidden Five, and I'll explain later when we get to that point. So let's start. I think we should start talking about the characters before we jump on into the season breakdown. And we'll just talk about, I guess, part one for now, and then we'll get to part two. So we're gonna start with the main character of the show. Well, these three are all main characters, like Aaron, Sora, Lloyd, Ryu. I guess I don't know. Ryu has been absent for some parts already, so I don't know if he's main character or if he's like a side character, like Wildfire and Frack and all that. Okay, so Aaron, so last we saw he left the team, the ninja, and he's now with Roz in some mysterious area, which was the first land or realm of Oni and Dragon. So so Aaron has to help Roz and make sure he gets healed up because he was injured last time from Knocked, who was right on the right there. He's like on the right of the poster right there. So he got injured, so Aaron has to take Ross to like the spectral lands and has to get a healing Ixler. I hope I'm saying that name right, but so yeah, they have to take that and get that, and they meet up an old friend. They meet up with an old ally from the ninja. Well, he is an ally later, but he was an enemy for the majority of the time we saw him. Moro. Now, in the show, they don't actually name him Moro, and in the credits, so it's kind of strange. Like, he's referred to as a departed ninja or something, or spirit, when Aaron mentions him later. So it's kind of weird that Lloyd later on doesn't recognize who he's talking about. But like, how many other departed ninjas from from Master Wu are there? Because from what the show has explained, like it's Moro and then the six ninjas. So I don't know, and it's like kind of strange that they didn't bring him up. But yeah, Moro decided to help Aaron and has helped the spirits, pass through so they can move on. So it's nice that Moro is, trying to help himself redeem himself, for all the bad things and help those who are alive or deceased. So through the spectral land, which the spectral land is also we finally got to confirmation of how the afterlife works. So the departed and cursed realm are now combined after the merge. They're like together. They're like called the spectral lands, and honestly it makes sense. Not gonna So yeah, so Aaron has to gets that healing elixir and has to beat those soul suckers or sucking souls, which they kind of come back in a way next part, but not exactly. So yeah, they go and they get the healing elixir, and then Aaron obviously and Raz, go on a they go find that Graves, which is in the it's in the realm of Lee. I'm gonna say that because it's not named. It's the realm. It wasn't named in part one, but in it is officially in the realm of Lee. So they go to that realm of Lee where the gravestones are, and it shows that his parents died, and that was kind of a sad scene. It was really such a sad scene, and it was one, but we all know that Aaron's parents aren't dead. Later on we found out he wasn't they were in bed, but still was a good heartbreaking scene. So Rouse tells Aaron to help him reverse the merge so they can bring back his parents and his people, and it makes sense, for and like I don't like Ross is evil. We know that, but he does have at least a good motivation. Now, does it justify everything he's done? No. But like it's understandable like bringing back your people is kind of like very important, and I understand like that is an interesting goal, and Ross is still one of the best villains though. We're going to talk about Ross afterwards. So, so then Aaron takes Ross to the Dragon Temple core. It's kind of, so they go there, they get the information where how to make source dragon icons, which is in the Forge of the Forgotten, in the underworld and all that. Still, still good. And then, they try to, yeah, and then they had to do a chase scene. They have to escape from the mountain dragons who were there, and they eventually run into the ninja, and they try to convince him to come back. Obviously, doesn't, and then Roz gets captured by a mysterious rogue character, and then one of the Forbidden Five comes in there. But we're gonna continue with Aaron's story. So so Aaron still tries to save Roz, and you know, and eventually, unfortunately, fails and almost falls to his death after he saves Roz. And Sora does save him and apologizes for lying to her back last season. So, and Roz gets kidnapped, so Aaron has to join the ninja. So, and then they join up and get ready for that fight and try to stop them from getting the Forbidden Five from getting the last two prismatic blades and freeing Thunderfang, which doesn't unfortunately go well, and you know, so they stop, and then they eventually stop Thunderfang with the healing elixir, and it's game over. But then Thunderfang, eventually gets into the Spectral Lands, Spectre, and does kill Moro. So Aaron is in a way responsible for stuff that happens in part two, but like in a way, like Aaron kind of should know. Like I'm not gonna say that Aaron. In a way, like remember he was taught by Moro that everything that passes through here, either dead or alive. So I feel like Aaron should have mentioned to the other ninja that the consequences that if they kill Thunderfang, he will be sent to the special lands. I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't know. I feel like though he should have mentioned something because it was told to us back in episode 3. So I don't know. And obviously Aaron leaves with Roz, and Sora actually does come along. So cool. So as for Lloyd and so yeah, that's Aaron's arc. Lloyd and Sora's arcs in part one. They go find Aaron for majority of part one. I mean, is there? I mean, there's not really much to say besides they fight a Cyclops and they fight a Doramus puppet and get a prismatic blade, and Frack is there. So yeah, and then they eventually find out about Thunderfang and all that, and then they fought, and then they stop Thunderfang too, and then Lloyd lets Aaron and Sora go because that's the difference between him and Roz and all that. So yeah, Lloyd and Sora didn't do much in part one. I'm gonna be honest. Besides, look for Aaron. So let's talk about I guess Ross. Ross. Part one. Ross. Ross was really good this season. With really good this season overall. Like not just part one, part two was good too, but like this season, like he finds a way to make him believe. Like Ross, I don't even know if Ross even believed his parents were dead because he talked to Jay earlier in last season, and and it was very interesting to find out that because that I think Jay just told him like the realm or location, but didn't say that if his parents were dead or alive. So and Ross just believed, found out too maybe and believed it, but we don't know that. Maybe Ross did know and just manipulated Aaron once again, but I still think that Ross did care about Aaron, and Ross still needing Aaron. Like I think Ross wanted Aaron to have the potential, and he knew Aaron had potential and wanted, and also like Ross didn't want to do everything on his own. Like he does need somebody, and he does, and he would rather have someone. And Aaron could have turned out like Ross if not for certain situations, if he could have turned into similar to Ross, where he hated somebody and his parents were dead, just like Ross's people, and it's kind of similar in a way. So yeah, but Ross does get captured a lot this season because Rogue is chasing him, which is Jay, by the way. Like it's Jay. I mean, listen, this video is coming out in December, so season's already out. So I'm just gonna say this: it's Jay, and like it's kind of predictable. It was Jay even before you see the minifigure and like you take out the you find out the face print. Like the figure is lightning themed and it's blue, and then the voice as well. Like they try to do it, they try to disguise and make it seem like it's like a different voice, but like you could still tell it's Jay. Like the lightning stuff is still there. I mean, on the figure. I mean, the show apparently just shows up at episode 10. So it is kind of weird that that Jay is going against his former employer that he was last season and doesn't and there's not even a mention of him, but like, I have I have worked for this Lord Ross before, so kind of strange. Yeah, so Lord Ross gets kidnapped by the Forbidden Five eventually, and they get saved, and he doesn't really do much in the finale, honestly. Like while the other ninja do the work, he's just sitting there, I guess. It's kind of strange, but then again, what would he have done against Thunderfang? Ah, but like, it's kind of strange that he's doing nothing because like he doesn't like the ninja, right? We know he doesn't like the ninja, but the ninja are trying to stop Thunderfang, and I feel like you should help them, I guess, like you did against Noct in season two. So I don't know. And then so yeah, Aaron and Sora leave with Roz, and that's pretty much the end of the part one journey for them. And then I guess the other ninjas, what did the other Frack joins the team and learns. lessons from Lloyd, which is good. But just joins up with the rescue team for Aaron and I mean with not Aaron with Sora and Lloyd. They do that, and Frack has a crush on Sora. So we'll see how that goes in season 4. We'll see where that takes us. Zane was the mascot of the set of this part, but Zane just went on his own adventure, kind of like he was with Lloyd and Sora and Frag for like episode 1 and a little bit of episode 2, but then he went on his own way and then he found Pixel and went against Rapton. So yeah, Rapton was here in this part and next part he's there too. So Rapton's pretty entertaining too. I know some people think he's annoying, but he's entertaining. He's entertaining than Dorama. Oh yeah, speaking of which, Dorama's puppet was here. Dorama was not. I will say Rapton was more entertaining than Dorama, so I'm glad that Rapton was here for a little bit. And he did kind of bring the plot forward a little bit, so yeah, Zane eventually, goes and tries to go against Rapton and finds the pod, which is similar to Zane's, and that Pixel's in there. So Pixel's pod and Pixel kind of came out of nowhere. I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I wonder if Pixel was supposed to be in this season originally, but it kind of felt weird because like they went through the portal. Rapton and his freebooters went through a portal and brought a pod with Pixel in it, I guess. So like I don't know. Hopefully we're gonna get some more information. I feel like we're getting close to the end of Dragons Rising, like the show. So we're gonna start getting maybe more of those big mysteries finally revealed and some stuff. Because I believe the rumor is still season 5 is the last season, so we have like all of 2026 and 2027. So, AKA probably like 40 episodes more to go, I think. So, and then we'll find out what's next. But it was I'm enjoying the Dragon Rising show. And it's good that we're back to 22 minutes. But I'm just saying that there's not much besides. Lloyd and Sora and Frack also found that Dragonian village, which so with Tyr. So they do also and Sora gets visited by Ericor and with Nia, and you reveal the kingdom, but it's not like that much to talk about because like there's not much that happens with that with Ericor and the realm. Derek's there, so which is cool, but like it's not really much besides fixing a prismatic blade. That's in part 2. It's going to be more important, like the Ninjago and all that. So, and I guess same with the hub of the Draconians. It's kind of not really that important. It is, but like they barely appears. So yeah, that's that. Oh yeah, so Zane finds Pixel, and then they eventually lose a prismatic blade to Noct, and they go on, and Zane gets damaged after trying to save Rapton and his freebooters. So yeah, he gets injured by trying to stop the train, and that's how he turns into that big Zane later by Pixel and Rapton decides to help. So yeah, then Zane's just a big figure and just helps him out, helps the ninja out, trying to get the last prismatic blades, and that's pretty much it of Zane and Pixel. It's like, oh yeah, and then we might as well talk about Zane here. Zane and Pixel are gone from part 2, like. So they show up in part 2 for like Zane goes to honor Eagle's death with the rest of the ninja. Besides Aaron and Sora, obviously, and some reason Frack is not there and Pixel. I know they don't know who they are, but like it's kind of weird. Like Cole is there, but like Cole hasn't used Rising Dragon, so like it's kind of strange that Cole is there, but I don't know. So yeah, and then Zane and Pixel go on have their adventure, because they said in part 1, in episode 7, I believe, that they will go explore the the other realms. So hopefully we'll see what that happens in season 4. Hopefully part 1 we find out some more mysteries, because I would assume Zane would come back. Hopefully in part 1. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Um. So yeah, Zane and Pixel, Kai and Nia, and are still going after their search for Jay, and Wildfire's there. So there's not really much that happens besides go and they go and see, and they thought it was Jay, but then it was Lightning Tods, and then they escaped, and then they thought about going to arcade to play Jay's favorite game, and Wildfire learned about arcades games and how fun they were, and then Jay was remotely putting his stuff in, and then they visited Roby because he got decayed from Kerr. So, and then they learned a little bit of information about Thunderfang, and then they just joined the rest of the ninjas to get their last prismatic blades. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest. The searching element of this part was not that good. Like, it really didn't lead anywhere that special. I mean, like for Kaini and Wildfire, it really didn't. For Lloyd and Sora, I don't know. It technically didn't, because like it's not like they found Aaron. Like, they found Aaron after they after Zan Pixel put the tracking for the prismatic blade, but without that they wouldn't have found Aaron. So I don't know. It wasn't really that good. And I think, and oh yeah, Cole was gone for the majority of this part, so he just went to the land of lost things to assume and see if he would find Aaron there. And I mean, like, they say he was gonna search the whole place, but like, I don't think Aaron was gonna end up in the land of lost things, but they had to do some way to write out Cole, which Cole has been written out so many times this in Dragons Rising. Like, season 1, it was understandable, and then season 1 part 2 didn't come back for the finale. Season 2, they 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 had him pop up back in episode 4 and onwards. So, and then season 3, and then season 3 part 2, like, he's there for a few episodes, but like, those scenes aren't that long with Cole, so it's like, and then episode 17 gets out of commission, and then does not show up until the finale, and then even the finale, it's like a cameo at best. So it's like, yeah, Cole and Zane have not been treated well in this series compared to like all the other ninjas. Even Kai, who was out of commission back in season 2, part 2. I mean, even he still popped up every few episodes, and so yeah, that's yeah. I mean, okay, so yeah, we talked about Roz. So let's talk about the Forbidden Five, because I'm gonna be honest, with y'all. They don't really have a character in the next part 2. Like, they don't talk. So, and they could probably be separated by another character. Could have been like replaced by another character, and you wouldn't make a difference. So yeah, they're not that good, to be honest. Noct and Rocks were pretty good last season. So, I mean, Noct was good. Rocks was good last season for possessing, being sneaky. I will say, because the Forbidden Five in this season, they don't really talk that much. It's literally Rocks that talks the most, and is the one every time the Forbidden Five appears, like in an episode, Rocks is the one, except for episode 8, where Drix is there. But like every other episode that Forbidden Five appears, it's always Rocks that's talking. The other Forbidden Five either talk in 1 or 2 episodes. Zark just talks in 1 episode. In episode 5, Noct talks in 4 and 9. Kerr barely talks. I'm gonna be honest. Kerr literally just talked a little bit in episode 5 and a little bit in episode 9. I mean, not episode. Yeah, episode 5 and episode 9. Yeah. And then Drix just talks in episode 8 and a little bit of 9. So yeah, it's kind of like yeah, and then their elemental powers. I mean, honestly, so here's where this gets interesting. I'm gonna be honest with you. Zark, Drix, and Kerr aren't really needed in this story. Yeah, I said that. Yeah, the only thing, it's five prismatic blades, but like the ones who are getting the prismatic blades in this season are Noct and Rox. The other three didn't really. Like, yeah, Drix got the blades in the episode 8, but again, it's Noct and Rox later who officially got the blades to Thunderfang at the end of the story. So, and it could have been replaced with Noct, who did that. So, Z- Kerr just got the broken blade, but wasn't the one who went to Ninjago. That was Rox. Zarg didn't even get any prismatic blades and just went back. Which honestly, you could have just replaced Zark with Tira that situation, and you didn't need to have a Forbidden Five there. You could have had Tyr, the leader of the Dragonians who got corrupted, with all the rest of the Dragonians. You could have just had him be there, and then he goes back, and then Rox just punishes Tyr or something. I don't know. So like Rox is I know Rox has some problems, but Rox is like one of those overconfident characters, and obviously they said last season that overconfidence is they can exploit, but having one of the Forbidden Five being overconfident and like cocky is pretty good personality. I'm not gonna lie, and Rock's doing that and being and Rox is still one of the smartest ones, and still is good. Noct is still one of those dangerous, like powerful brute force ones. Like Zark, oh yeah, so and the elemental powers they barely don't use it. Like Rox doesn't use fear much. Uh, Curb used DK once or twice. I mean, twice, I think. Drix used bugs, and Noct uses brute force, and Zark uses misfortune. But they don't say in the past. And I want to be honest with you, Rocks could probably fear power could probably have some could have been used on Roby. So it's like the sick power and make Roby still feel like decayed almost, and Noct could still probably do similar to the misfortune power with his art. Then they barely show up in this season anyways. And so it's like I'm gonna be honest with you. Noct and Rux could have been the only Forbidden Five that were around, and could have worked. And same with last season where they had to get free the remainder of the Forbidden Five. Like it could still work, with instead of just getting them to free the remainder of Forbidden Five, they have to free Rox's body and soul, body. So but everything else would have worked out, and the season could play the same. Like even in part two, where instead of it's not like the other three use their powers anyways, really that much. Zark didn't. Zark, I mean, Zark used his power in the finale, but that was little like a brute force type power, and Noct could be there where Kai, Neo, and Jay, who later showed up, could have been there, and wouldn't really miss much. So, and then there was no elemental powers being used from the Forbidden Five from Kerr, who was there in the finale. So you could have Rox be there against Sora, Frack, and Wildfire in part two. So it's it's kind of strange how you could easily cut out the three Forbidden Five, and the story really wouldn't change much. And maybe who knows? Noct and Rox could have gotten more character development and stuff like that if that was the case. But yeah, it's just kind of strange. Not gonna lie. Thunderfang just wants revenge against the Source Dragons, and and a dragon being a main antagonist is a pretty cool concept and cool idea. Like an evil dragon being the main antagonist, that's a great idea. The problem is he doesn't do anything. Like, yeah, in part one he's stuck. Like, obviously he can't say anything, but he can say something. Maybe give some items to help the Forbidden Five at that point. But besides that gem that gives him the army. Like, there's not really much he's doing. And in part two, he's literally just in the spectral lands, and he's just there. It's like there's nothing for him to do. He can't do anything, and he doesn't even escape the spectral lands by the end of the part two. So it's like, yeah, he just goes against the Art Dragon at the finale, and that's really it. And obviously, he betrays the Forbidden Five, which was obvious. Like, he wasn't gonna. So yeah, that's Thunderfang's character for the whole part one and part two. I mean, I guess we can talk about part two quickly. You know, some of the characters for part two. Aaron and Sora, you know, they tried to get to the underworld, which they end up doing, and then Ross tried to throw Sora in the forge to be used as a sacrifice, and Aaron obviously said no, and so that's the end of the Aaron and Ross arc, obviously, because they're back to being enemies, and they escape from Ross, and they eventually find the ninja, so and then they join up with them to get to. So yeah, and remember, when the season was out, majority of the part two was out, so literally they let the Ras story was ended pretty fast, in a way, because like majority of part two was out, and that was episode 14. So Aaron and Sora joined everyone in the land of Lee. So like Lloyd, Jay, and Nia, Wildfire. I don't know why Wildfire was there. I don't feel like Wildfire did much in that in the land of Lee, but yeah. So that's basically Aaron and Sora. They just joined with Ross for a little bit, and then they joined the rest of the ninjas who and made their way to unlock the rest of the Arc Dragons of Focus. And Sora, joined. Sora was with Wildfire and Frack in the Ninjago, and Ryu. I'm sorry, Ryu too. Aaron is with Lloyd in the Spectral Lands, which the other Forbidden Five that tried to attack, like quote unquote, but like they don't do the knock rocks and tricks just stood there was like out after they went underground. So it's like they could have had made it a way to make it so they have to like dig underground or something. So it's not like they did anything anyway. So yeah, that's and then so yeah, and then Aaron Lloyd wants to apologize, and after they did find their parents, like Lloyd and the rest of them who went to the land of Lee did find their parents, and so you know Lloyd did try to apologize to Aaron, and Aaron didn't want to be a ninja anymore because of what he's done, and he eventually decides he's going to be a ninja again, and wanted to take a break with his parents, and yeah, that's was obvious. So after they leave their mechs, by the way, which is kind of strange in the season. Like they oh yeah, by the way, they did see Black, and that's how they got all the information since Roby got corrupted by the spectral Dragonians, who are like the soul suckers. So it's kind of strange. And then Frack. Sora, Wildfire, and Frack and Ryu were in Ninjago, and they succeeded in waking the bells. And then in the realm of Lee is like Lee was a pretty good antagonist. I'm gonna be honest with you, trying to make everyone believe that the other realms were destroyed, so they would stay, and Lee would have friends. That was a pretty cool twist. That was a cool story, honestly, and Lee did learn from it at the end of the season. So and he's apologizing and telling them the truth. So and they found Aaron's parents. So they made that. So yeah, Aaron's parents did make it back to the monastery safely. So yeah, then we have we have Kai and Cole and Frack. They had like a small plot in this story in part two, and they just what did they do in this season? They literally found out like the earth was quaking or shaking, whatever. And they found out. We finally found out what Cole's story was in season one, part two. After he left, after he decided to follow Wu, and he couldn't figure it out, and like he saw something. So they go to that section spot, and then they free like a deceased source dragon, which was the source dragon of balance. And then and so yeah, and then they try to go after Noct um after he hollowed out the some of the finders except for Geo. They try to stop him from getting hollowing everyone in Imperium, and they kind of succeed, and that's how they get their reveal blades, which defeats prismatic, which defeats the spectral Dragonians. Yeah, yeah, so they beat them, and then but Cole still gets hollowed and be for trying to go after Noct, and yeah, and then they pretty much go back to the monastery, and then Kai joins up with Nia after she gets to the Mysterium realm and trying to unlock her half of the Arc Dragon. And then yeah, so yeah, Kai tries to help Nia out and gets there, and Frack is with Wildfire and Sora trying to go to the Ninjago, and then obviously they succeed. And then, oh yeah, by the way, Lloyd was summoned to the Council of the Source Dragons, and they didn't want to free they didn't want the ninja to awaken the Arc Dragon because there would be some consequence. And I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Majority of the Source Dragons are like there has to be a good reason because like the world is getting doomed. Like Thunderfang's gonna come after you all, and Thunderfang is going to kill everybody if you don't awaken the Arc Dragon. It's like I'm gonna be so the Source Dragons who by the way left the council at the end was strength, life, and focus. And then there's like one more Source Dragon who kind of who is still on the council, but kind of doesn't understand though, like in a way, like why the mortals did it, which was low, like all four of them like don't understand and like is like so and like doesn't care about the mortals or doesn't care that that Thunderfang was going to come after you all and kill you. And because of this, now apparently the cycle is going to reset. Like motion and energy are like the only two that understand and side with the mortals and agree that what they're doing is the right thing, and they're the only ones who technically allied with the ninja to begin with. Like none of them, like they literally left the council except for Flo, which even then Flo doesn't really understand either. So I'm not counting Flo as being like on the good side really. Like the cycle is gonna be apparently reset, and the ninja all lost their powers, and same with every other elemental master. Every elemental master lost their powers by this part. So yeah, that's just terrible. So I wonder when if the ninja will get their powers back, which probably, if I have to make a guess, maybe they'll get their powers by the end of season 4, like season 4 part 2. It's just a guess. I don't know. But or maybe they'll get them. I don't know because the Arc Dragon of Life is in the is in part 1. Like obviously, like because the set's out there. So maybe they'll get or maybe some of them will get their powers back at the end of part 1. I don't know, but still, I mean, I don't know. And then yeah, so then the ninja gets scattered. Like they're in different realms, unknown realms, like so Lloyd and Aaron were in like a jungle place, which we heard it's like called the Whispering Woods or something, according to the set information. It's called the Whispering Woods. So they're in there. Kai, Nia, and then Jay, who joined up later after he left. Oh yeah, Jay was awesome in this in part two. You know, it was pretty cool to see see Jay back after him being gone for 3 seasons. Well, 2 seasons and a half. So you know, it's good to see Jay, and you know he still joining up with them, even though he doesn't remember them and all that. So yeah. So Kai, Nia, and Jay are in the a mysterious dark area, and then Sora, Wildfire, Frack, and Ryu are like in a realm that has like that grassland where it seemed like the Shadow Jojo popped up after part season 2, part 1. So who knows? And then Cole is still in the monastery, and Zane and Pixel are somewhere, are in it somewhere else. So yeah, yeah. Ross was like messing around with it with the portal gates and make them go to different realms. And I have a kind of a theory, like Ross sent Lloyd and Aaron to like a realm with the Archdragon of Life, which is kind of like a Lloyd's Archdragon. So what if Roz sent Lloyd to that realm on purpose? I feel like there has to be some reason because the Archdragon of Life is like a jungly dragon who can help out Lloyd. So like there has to be some sort of reason. Like maybe Ross is secretly helping Lloyd after the I don't know. And speaking of Roz, in part season 3, part 2, Roz, oh my god, was a beast. You know, after Aaron Sora left Roz went crazy and like he got another Source Dragon icon. He killed someone off screen, you know, and got another icon. We don't know what icon it was. He had the Source Dragon of Strength icon the whole time throughout season 1. You know, that was his icon, and you know he helped with getting the MG1 down in Imperium. We have no other information besides that. So, and like he made another one, and he takes out the skeletons down in the underworld, and then in the next episode he comes out with some cool bone armor. Like he looks so cool, man. So yeah, I like and then episode 18 and 19, like he gets into the monastery and he goes at it and beats Geo and Frohaki and Rontu. And that was such a good fight. And that, you know, some of his bone armor was destroyed, but he still has his helmet. It's like so good, man. And then he literally goes to get Cat and captures Wu in the finale, and and he's like, "Your students are lost now, old man, scattered across the deepest reach in the forest realm." And like that was such a cool place to end Rouse's story for this season. And you know, he'll obviously be back next season, so we'll see what Rouse is up to next season. We still have no idea who his master is, which hopefully we're gonna start getting closer to that reveal with the master and stuff. So yeah, that was cool. Um, any other ninjas that I forgot? By any chance? Besides, oh yeah, Nia, Lloyd, and Jay and Wildfire earlier this season went to the realm of Lee, and you know they uncovered Lee's plans and tried to escape, and Lee eventually learned from Sora not to lying, and yeah, there's not really much to go off with that information. So, I mean, I guess I can quickly summarize everything. Oh, I guess I can summarize. Okay, let's get to. We could do that, but I'm not gonna. Okay, let's do this. So yeah, that's the missing right here. So in this episode, let's go over quickly what happens in each episode. This episode, they literally, you know, Sora's giving pies out to the crossroads, to make up for Aaron not being there, and trying to do what Aaron's doing, and then they eventually, and then Sora tries to learn how to bake from Fract, and then Zane finds a hint and thinks that they found a way to find Aaron, and then they go to the wastelands, and then they go against Dorama's puppet, and that's where they found like a prismatic blade, and that's pretty much the episode. Like, and then oh yeah, and then Courtney and Wildfire obviously they go off and to they try to go find Jay, and they found Jay, and then they went to the Lightning Tides, and they escaped there, and yeah, there's not really much I can talk about in this episode. And Cole obviously left for the season, so that's pretty much exactly what happens in that season. So in that episode. Oh yeah, and the Forbidden Five make an appearance at the end and steal a truck so they can go to Thunderfang. So Aaron in this episode, they goes on his own to get food for Roz, and he comes to Roz, and he tries to get better on his training, and doesn't obviously do good, and for the and then Lloyd Frack and Sora, they obviously go into the tunnel. They go into a tunnel and they separate with Zane for a different path. Zane's going to go in a different path. Lloyd Frack and Sora, Wildfire, Ryu, they make a mess, and they made a mess, and they almost fall to their doom. But Tyr and the Dragon save them. They're in the village, and you know, and then so they go help out. They ask if they found Aaron, and then they have to go against this administrative Cyclops, which I already forgot his name or whatever his name is. Like, I don't really care about this Cyclops. He's not that entertaining. Like, he's kind of annoying, and they save some Dragonians. They're on the way to go find Jay, and then oh yeah, Kai, Nia, and Wildfire, they stay in for a campfire, and Wildfire sends letters to Roby, and and that's really much it for this episode. Like, some of these I'm just gonna simplify what they do, so we don't get all that. This episode, by the way, like, this episode is good when it's with Aaron, Roz, and Moro, like that whole part. But like, I feel like they've cut back to the Kai Nia Wildfire like arcade stuff too much in this episode. We don't really need to have the majority of this episode them playing the game. Like, so like so obviously they go to the crossroads to see if anyone knows where Jay is, and then they eventually find out to go to the arcade, and they play those games, and Wildfire learns those arcade games, how much fun arcade games are, and thinks in the Lloyd Rouse part. Aaron thinks about Lloyd and the rest of the ninja, and Ross tells Aaron to forget about them, and they're not cowards and all that, and Aaron thinks they're not cowards, and they're not heroes, and so yeah, Aaron takes Roz to like Spectral Lands, which what they were gonna do at the end of last episode. So, and then so Aaron goes into the Spectral Lands, which Roz just had a prismatic blade on him. Yeah, the prismatic blades like stuff just came out last minute or whatever. I feel like yes, they go in there and they try, and Aaron tries to get to the healing elixir with Moro, and Moro tells Aaron how he was once a ninja and he'll help him out and make sure that nothing he protects them and all that, and they head out, and oh yeah, Moro tells Aaron that if he finds his master Wu, tell them he's right and all that. So yeah, and then oh yeah, and then finally at the end of this episode, the Forbidden Five get to the Dragonian village and find Thunderfang's prison, and then they make a deal with Thunderfang so they get more power, and then Thunderfang obviously gets his freedom when they free him and all that, but obviously it's gonna be a trick, as I already mentioned, so later. So Thunderfang gives him this gem which gets the Dragonians corrupted, so you know, so they're all corrupted, and Ryu kind of senses it at the end of the episode. Kind of interesting, I guess. Episode four, the Great Zane Robbery. This episode is mainly a Zane and Pixel episode with Sora, Lloyd, and Frack and Ryu. They pop up in the beginning, but it's mainly Zane, Pixel that are in this episode. So in this episode, they go on like Zane finds another monastery but this time in the First Lands, and they run into Raptin and his gang and try to stop him in his plan, and they find like a prismatic blade on his train and all that, and they try to get that, and they free a pod which was Pixel, and Pixel has no idea what happened, and last was in the merge, and last memory was in the merge, so. Zane and Pixel have to fight Raptin, and they try to escape, and then they find out that there's a prismatic blade on board, and then they find it, and then they fight over it, and Noct and his Dragonians get away, and Zane has to sacrifice himself to stop the train, and yeah. That's pretty much it for the episode, and then Rox at the end of this episode goes to that village with the crab was and finds like that tooth that was knocked underneath and breaks it and finds a prismatic blade, so yeah, that's I alone can save them is number 5. In this episode, Aaron and Roz go through a desert, and obviously they find a vehicle which for Aaron, and Roz tells him it's like one of his he has vehicles and stuff all over the merge for them. So he takes the Aaron and they go off and they try, and Aaron was about to save those people for find out what was going on with the realm with the I mean not the realm, the place with the crab, and Ross tells them to stop and focus on what matters, and they leave and they go all the way to the land of Lee, and they find those gravestones, and Aaron was told by Roz that he will reverse the merge so they can save his people and Aaron's parents, and that's the end of Aaron's story and Ross's story for this episode. Lloyd, Sora's arc and Frack, they just go and they they find out that Aaron went to the Spectral Lands, and unfortunately, Lloyd did not see Morrow. They did not go to the Spectral Lands because they turned around and they went the other way. And Ryu found out that the Dragonians, since the Dragons were corrupted, and so they lead them to the Dragonians, and Zark was there, and so they went there and they battled, and they were saved by Pixel and Zane, who was rebuilt by earlier that episode by Raptin and Pixel and the Freebooters. So yeah, and also like Kai and Nia and Wildfire went to the City of Temples to visit Roby after she was also decayed earlier that episode too. So Kerr was there. That's that's pretty much it for number 5. Number 6. This episode mainly had Sora and Nia, honestly, and not Ryu. So yeah, Eric and Dareth is here for a little bit of the episode too. So this episode, Nia finds out some stuff about Thunderfang, which was told to us already earlier this season by Rox, who narrated it to us in episode 1. And so in this episode, they're trying to rebuild Aircord's realm, like some villagers and Dareth here. They try to make some villagers, and Aircord can apparently doesn't have to grant the wishes. So interesting, very interesting how they do it. So, and obviously Rox shows up and they try to and tells it Aircore to free him or I'll trap you. And so Aircore finds a way to make Rox wish that Nia and Sora and Ryu was teleported. So they do that and they battle. They make wishes and one of them is made of jelly. The Dragoon is made out of jelly, and Rox's feet are stuck to the ground, or this Dragonia is backwards, and one of them is a rubber ball. But Aircore gets weaker every time he makes wishes, and so they stop making wishes, and Rox manages to capture Aircore, and then Rox makes Aircore repair the prismatic blade and time freezes Nia, Sora, and Ryu, and then makes them kneel before her and make them admit that the Forbidden Five are the superior in every way, and Sora is able to eventually use her tech power to break the trap and free Aircore, and they make them and they run. So Rox and the Dragonians escape, and then Nia tried to wish to find their missing friends, but apparently Aircore can't. So they wish to go back to where they were, and yeah, that's what happens for them. And then they go back to where they were, and they go off to. They tell each other that they tell each team that they have to stop looking for the missing person and find the last prismatic blade. Find the last prismatic blade. So yeah, that's kind of really it. It's not. And then Aaron and Ross, like Ross tells Aaron that he will has the source dragon of strength with him, and he was able to capture the energy using the same energy one down for Imperium. And then, oh yeah, Rogue was also hired like 2 episodes ago, I believe in episode 4. Like, Rogue J was hired by Fidelian to go to Zetrix or someone who wanted your. So yeah, he wanted to, or not. No. Fidelian wanted to own Chowslin, and then tells that Zetrix wants your services and stuff. So in this episode, Zetrix hires Jay to more money to capture Roz, which doesn't end up happening. And I do wonder, like, if Jay is still gonna go capture Roz in the next season, because like he doesn't really. I mean, he does capture Roz, but he doesn't ram into Zetrix, and there's no word if Jay is still gonna go capture Roz or whatever by the next season. So who knows? So Aaron and was training and then took Roz to the is taking Roz to the Temple of the Dragon Energy Cores with Jay looking on. Number 7. Yeah. So Wildfire goes. Okay, let's start with Wildfire's arc because it doesn't really go anywhere. Wildfire's trying to heal Roby, and they go to that cavern run area to find something to try to heal Roby. It doesn't really heal Roby, so it's like, yeah, that arc didn't really go anywhere. I do appreciate they trying to make it seem like Wildfire was trying because otherwise Wildfire would be sidelined for the majority part one here because Wildfire would have been sidelined for most of the end of part one here. So but this episode mainly focused on Aaron and Roz and the ninja. They met back up in the monastery and they try to build something to locate the last prismatic blade and but this episode was mainly Roz and Aaron focused. So they try to go to their way to the Dragon Energy Core, but not before Jay Rowe tried to capture Roz, and they took down their vehicle, and they get separated. Aaron and Roz get separated, and Roz took out Rogue Jay for their time being, and the mountain dragons come to save Aaron, and Aaron meets the matriarch, like the new baby matriarch, who was named Ernie, but was not named in the show for some reason, apparently. I don't know why. So that's what happens with that. And they find Roz and they take him to the Dragon Energy Core where Temple of the Dragon Energy Core where and Leaf Blade's waiting outside. And then they get the information. Obviously Ross destroys the Jujutsu Master statue and tortures um the spirit at the temple to give him the information of how to make source dragon icons. And I do appreciate it though, even though he was torturing the spirit, he doesn't kill him after he gets the information. Like Ross could have went and tried to kill the spirit, but he lets the spirit go. So it's clearly obvious Ross isn't like truly evil where he's gonna kill everybody. So unless he has to, he does what's necessary. So they tried to escape, and then Leaf Blade and the Mountain Dragons tried to capture Roz because he worked for the Imperium, and the Aaron's not gonna let that, so they escape and they run into the ninjas, and yeah, that's the end of episode 7. Ooh, this episode number 8, they're crashing together. This episode was mainly a flashback episode with we got to see how Aaron and Sora, become friends and stuff, and how they met, and it's kind of sweet, and it's very nice how Aaron and Sora finally met, and Sora was saved by Aaron from being chased because she was hungry, and it was it's just cute, and Aaron gave some pie to Sora, and Sora thought Aaron made a mistake. Sora thought that Aaron doesn't want to be friends with her anymore, and they get to be friends, and they're still friends, and Aaron saves Sora from being captured from the cage, and kind of cute. And then in the present, you have them like you have them on opposite sides, and Frack, and Frack wants believes that Aaron was manipulated and being manipulated, and Kai believes though that Raz is being a nice guy, and Lloyd thinks that Aaron's being held hostage, which I don't think so. And Frack does try to stop Aaron from leaving Raz from leaving with Aaron, but Aaron knocks him back, and Raz gets captured by Rogue again, and they go on a chase, and Aaron does save Raz, and Rogue J try to kill Aaron, and Sora manages to knock Rogue out again and save Aaron and apologizes, and Raz gets captured by Drix and the rest of the Dragonians, and yeah, and he also gets the two prismatic blades too. So in this episode, Wildfire finally finds a way to heal Roby. Is just by heat, and then it joins up with the rest of tries to join up with the rest of them using her mech vehicle, whatever. And the remaining ninja, Lloyd apologizes to Aaron, and Lloyd obviously tries to make it seem like that his Uncle Wu would never try to do this on purpose and all that. And that was something. So they go on. So Aaron joins the ninja temporarily to get Roz back and stop Thunderfang. So they go back to the monastery, and Aaron and goes to tell Sora that Roz is helping him being stronger and help with his anger and stuff, and Sora tells he's nice and all that, and like you know, but and Sora does apologize, and they go back to being friends, I guess. So I believe so. So that yeah, then they try to cut off Drix, which in the first land, which doesn't work out well because the rest of the Forbidden Five come and help him out, and it was a long fight, and then Nock tries to fight Roz and defeat him, but not weaken, and gives him a fair shot. And Aaron decides to save Roz again, and the two prismatic blades that he got were gone, and knocked and rocks freeze Thunderfang. Well, actually, it was given back to Drix and Zark for some reason, but technically Knocked and Rocks gets the credit. So they free the for Thunderfang, and then Thunderfang obviously takes their revived souls, and obviously wasn't gonna help them. And yeah, that's pretty much it for them. Thunderfang is free though. So in this episode, the ninjas go fight off Thunderfang or try to stop him as best they could, which obviously isn't going to go well. And then Aaron finds out to after Thunderfang steals Lloyd's soul, Aaron just uses the healing elixir to get rid of all the souls from Thunderfang, and Thunderfang dies to the spectral lands. So he uses his kindness in a way. And after the Dragonians that got corrupted are finally now back to normal, and thank Aaron for freeing them. And Aaron still leaves with Roz, and Sora joins along with Aaron and Roz, and Jay, who was there, Rogue, who was there, which used his lightning powers, and Nia finally realized who Rogue was, which was Jay, and Jason's leg was hurt, so they took him back to the monastery, where Jay told them that Aaron's parents were alive. And Cole was there, by the way. Cole came back. So. And, oh yeah, and then at the end of this episode, like, Thunderfang, like, stole Moro So. And we still have no idea if Moro is even what happened to Moro after this part ended, by the way. We still have no idea. Okay, hold up. We're gonna get to the next set of episodes. The Hollow Ones. Speaking of which, we get to see how how Aaron and Raz got to the first land. With Noct using the brute force to like destroy the portal gate and make Aaron and Raz into the first land. This episode does have a long flashback, which we don't entirely need that much. Like, I get why they did it because people might watch them separately, but like I don't know, like we don't need like that long explanation about them going to getting the healing elixir and all that. But okay, so oh yeah, and then the beginning of this episode was actually started by Gandalia, who came back. So they were in their Gandalia was trying to fix her magic ball, and then the whistle came, which was honestly pretty creepy, and that was probably good sound effects, pretty good sound effects, for that creepy noise, and kind of works. And Spectral Kerr, and the Spectral Dragonians all come, and they all start hollowing out people. And Aaron, so yeah, that's what happens, and then we get to Aaron and Sora. Aaron, Sora, and Roz. Obviously, they go to Acrobilaria, which I probably or Acrobigu. I'm probably saying that name wrong. I apologize. They go to Mysterium, and they try to get the information from the leader or something, and he gets hot, but he's already hauled out. So they try to find a way to get to the underworld, and so they're there. They find out that, and the Spectral Dragonians come back with Spectral Kerr, and Kerr is there. I mean, Gandaluria is there too. So and the ninjas are allies, and doesn't realize who Roz is, even though Gandaluria was told last season that Roz was capturing Bonzo and all that, but like a cat. So, but the other ninjas, meanwhile, the other ninjas, they go, except for Jay, who was obviously not there, and Frack, they all go to see the eagle is dying from the wasting sickness, which was already hinted at last season. But yeah, Eagle is about to die, and he thanks the ninjas for coming. And so yeah, Aaron is, and Eagle wonders where Aaron is, and Lloyd tells that Eren and Sora are not there, and it's kind of sad that Eren and Sora doesn't get to say goodbye to Eagle either. It's like, ugh. And Eagle tells that he was harsh on Eren because he had believed in his true potential, and he believed in him, which was so. Lloyd does promise to Eagle they go back, they go and find Eren and Sora. So, and Eagle says goodbye to Rontu, but also says something that Wildfire is going to be a great leader. So that might be some hint towards something. So yeah, Eagle is now officially dead. Rontu was invited to come to the Monster Spinjitzu, which he originally said no, but then later does come and joins Ryu, who and then yeah, and then the ninjas also say goodbye to Zane and Pixel. They go off on their adventure to explore the merchant lands, and then Lloyd and Nia check on Jay and find out, and they want Jay to tell them where Eren and Sora are and get the parents. I mean, not Eren Sora. They want to find Eren's parents, so that way they can find Eren Sora, and you can get money if you once you help us get Eren Sora away from Roz, and so. And Jay was funny, acting like his leg was hurt, even though he wasn't anymore. And he wants to be in charge and all that. So yeah, that's pretty much how the episode does end with Spectral Cur and Spectral Dragonians showing up and in the Mysterium with Eren and Sora there. So 12, ooh, they get that. Oh yeah, by the way, they got that new Destiny's Bounty from Roby, who for Wildfire saving his life, and Wildfire is like about driving and all that stuff. So meanwhile, so the Spectral Cur and the Spectral Dragonians, like they attack all the people there, and they try to steal all their souls, which they even steal Gandaloria's as well. And the reason, oh yeah, by the way, they can't. The Spectral Dragonians only show up at night. Apparently, I don't know. That's strange. Not during the day. So they steal the souls, and they were going to get the map to the underworld, and so they end up taking the Gandaloria back with them to the monastery so they can find out where the map is. So they end up doing that. So Eren, Sora, and Rouse end up finding the map to the underworld, and they leave, and that's the end of their story for this episode. For Jay, Lloyd, and Nia, they basically go and Wildfire, they basically go to the the realm of madness or kingdom of madness to go to the administration because by the way, the administration has showed up at least once in every single part they've been introduced. Like even in season 3, like they at least showed up at the end, episode 10, briefly. Like they've showed up so many times in this, but I'm not complaining. They're really good this in the show. So they show up there because they can't go to the land of Lee because otherwise they wouldn't be taken into the heart or the bunker underneath. So they go to the land. They go to the administration, and they eventually, go and make some fake stories how Jay and Nia are married, and Lloyd and Wildfire are brother and sister and all that, and so they get their special casual clothes, and they end up getting through the portal to the land of Lee. So that's the story for them. I know it's just. Oh yeah, let's start with the Kai and Cole's story and Frack's story. I mean, they're training and they're trying to train Frack Ninjutsu, and Rontu's trying to teach Ryu Ninjutsu, and it doesn't go well. And so Kai and Furohiki tells them to stop training there and breaking things. So Kai and Cole and Frack go to the land of lost things, which is apparently Imperium. I don't know. And the Ryu and Rontu go train off and find out in the junkyard, and they get permission to train in the junkyard. Yeah, Ryu and Rontu's training is kind of off screen. It's not really that special. So yeah, but the main story is the Land of Lee's story with Wildfire, Lloyd, Nia, and Jay, who they try to be casual and they pretend they don't know what happened to them, and they find out that the Lee is lying to them, saying that the other realms were destroyed, and this is the only realm left, and it's safe and all that. But they obviously try to find out where Aaron's parents are, and unfortunately for them, Lloyd and Wildfire was tricked, and they find after they after Lee found out was disguised, and that was a creepy scene with Lee at the end of this episode with them, and like, gotcha, fakers, you're bad neighbors, and like that was such creepy. Like he was disguised as one of the citizens and trying to because he found out that Wildfire and Lloyd were they kind of knew the truth, so they almost got brainwashed. They captured them, and he found one. He also brainwashed another citizen. After they found out the truth. So yeah, Lloyd and Wildfire are in a position where they're about to be brainwashed. And then Jay and Nia, obviously, they're enjoying themselves, and they're dancing and they're enjoying, and they weren't captured, but still, that was such a creepy ending, though. Oh, but this episode right here. Okay. Okay. Hold up. I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna get the Castigate of Bones episode. This one right here, we get Roz, Aaron, and Sora. They finally make it to the spot where they have to enter the underworld, and then they go to the underworld, and we get to see Crunch and Knuckle, which is cool, and it was cool. So they end up getting to the Forge of the Forgotten, and Roz tells Aaron that he's gonna throw Sora in, and Aaron, Roz was like, "Would you rather you, Aaron?" And it's like, "No one's dying here today, Roz." And then they go against it. So Aaron tells Roz that I'm going against you. Like, I should have never trusted you in the first place. So they escape from Roz and they get him like trapped or whatever in the rocks. Which Roz is fine, by the way. He's good. He's not in trouble. And yeah, and Aaron's like upset that his parents are gone forever, even though, spoiler alert, next episode he finds Aaron's parents, so Aaron will be fine next episode. So Aaron, so Lloyd and Wildfire are basically in the cage for the whole episode. Like they're not they didn't escape this whole episode. But Lloyd was summoned to the Council of Source Dragons and find out that they don't want to help out. Most of them don't want to help out with the mortals. So, and that there's a way to free the Arc Dragon of Focus if they. So that's something. And then Jay and Nia in this episode, they just try to find out where Aaron's parents are, and Lee tries to go capture them, and obviously it doesn't work out. And Jay and Nia finds Aaron's parents at the end of this episode, and also we have Frack, Kai, and Cole, in the land of lost things where they're trying to practice, where they're trying to get Frack to use his spinjitzu and feel, and he uses quake powers, and he feels the earth is shaking, and Cole tells us the story of how he was summoned by Wu and to the land of lost things, and he felt something was down there, so they make their way there with a vehicle. Why is there what's going on with the full screening? Bruh. Give me the full screen. Bruh. Come on. The Screaming Earth episode. So in this one right here, we have Aaron and Sora. They're making their way over to the land of Lee so they can say goodbye to Aaron's parents. but they're set to join back with the rest of the ninja. So, but they found out the Land of Lee bunkers. They find that area, whole area there. So, and then they find out where Aaron's parents are. They see Aaron's parents and the ninja are fighting the Lee clones, and so they join back with that. So Aaron joins up with them to save his parents, and Sora, and then one of the Lees was flung off the roof. So Sora talks to one of the Lees, and finds out that Lee was lonely and wants to and thinks he's a good friend. And Sora tells him that if you tell them the truth, that some of them will stay and they'll be true friends and all that. So Lee tells the other Lees to stop, and Aaron officially gets to reunite with his parents, but not before the some spectral Dragonians show up with spectral Zarked, which they did go through the realm of administration. So so in the last episode they did also attack the administration, and we had Thunderfang and all that. So, but Thunderfang doesn't really do much in this season, so that's why I ignored Thunderfang. So yeah, Aaron and Sora's story kind of closes, with that story with them being on their own and all that. With Nia and Jay, they eventually were able to. They tried to save Lloyd and Wildfire, but they freed themselves and they escaped, and you know, and so they have to like go battle in the streets and all that to escape, and it doesn't work out entirely well, and yeah, and then that's where the rest of the episode is, and then Kai and Cole finally found out that it was a Source Dragon, a DC Source Dragon, which is the Source Dragon balance, was buried underneath the land of lost things. So, and Master Ru pops up, the ghost that pops up says, "What was us lost, we'll be free," or whatever, something like that, and disappears. I don't know. So we'll probably get more information about that maybe next season. Maybe, I don't know. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And this episode was mainly the ninja trying to escape um the land of Lees, and the because all the other villagers except for like Aaron's parents and the ninja, they were all hollowed out. So they escape, and they make their way to the 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 spectral lands, and they find out that Thunderfang and the spectral Dragonians were there, and they got attacked, and they go to the spectral lands monastery, and then they go to the City of Temples, which we still have no idea what the realm is for City of Temples is, by the way. I wonder what, if it, unless it's called that, that's the realm, but I don't think so. They go there, they try to go find Roby and see if what they can learn, but Roby comes out hollowed, and that's the end of the episode for them. And then we have like also the Kai Cole Frack briefly story. That story kind of like all they do there is they go back and they find out that the finders, except for Geo, got hollowed. So then they Geo takes them back, the hollowed finders back to the monastery, while the rest of them go to track down Noct. And yeah, and then we also have Roz in this episode. In the beginning of this episode, he gets another Source Dragon icon. And so he does kill someone. It was someone with a hat. He does kill someone, and he has to battle skeletons because the living cannot use the horde. But obviously, the next episode we see Roz comes in with the bone armor, so the skeleton's probably dead, or dead, or at least injured because he got the bone armor. This episode right here, we have the main ninja, the ninja like all there, like they're at the city temples, and then they eventually go to find Black, and Wildfire has control over the freebooters. I mean, not the freebooters. The boss, the City of Temple bots. They have control over them because if Roby's out of commission, Wildfire's like backups. They go to Black and try to get the information out of him, and they free him from his cell so they can find out information about the Arc Dragon Focus. And yeah, and then so yeah, they basically come up with a plan and to go to this and free the other half, so the Arc Dragon from Ninjago and Mysterium. They go to those places, and obviously they have their max. Lloyd and Aaron have their max, and Jay doesn't want to go with Nia, and because they still haven't paid him, and they still haven't brought Roz, and Jay goes on his own way, and Jay obviously does come back in the finale, so 20, but Jay's left for a few episodes, and Black goes back to his jail cell, and Aaron goes with Lloyd, Nia's on her own, and Wildfire and Sora go back to the monastery to get to Xanth to take her to Ninjago. So yeah, so that's what happens. Kai and Cole and Frack, they're in Imperium now, and they try to stop Noct. Doesn't go well, and they get the reveal blaze, but Cole gets hollowed out after refusing to stop and all that. So Cole gets hollowed, the Noct and Dragons leave, and that's the end of the episode. Oh, well, the end of the episode is Ron's obviously in the city of temples, like monastery or whatever it was. That's the real end of the episode. Number 18. We're almost at the end, everybody. So this episode right here, the Sora and Wildfire, they come back and they get and then Kai and Frack come back with Hall of Cole, and Frack joins up with Sora and Wildfire to the Ninjago with Xanth, and so they go, and Kai just shows up in the next episode with Nia, tracking down Nia. So Kai's just with Nia. Kai went to follow Nia, and so Sora, Wildfire, and Frack, they go to Ninjago, and they see Aircore, and the realm got bigger, and then we also have Rafton who showed up and who's also coming to Ninjago. So Rafton will do something next episode. So, and then we have that Cyclops again with Nia in Mysterium after. Oh yeah, we also had that Gandoleer Coconut who Nia befriended and took with her. But yeah, we had that Cyclops in there, and Nia also explained to the Coconut that Jay that he's missing Jay, and Jay is not himself, and the Coconut says people change, Star or something like that, and like so apparently the Coconut and the Cyclops was friends once or whatever. I don't know. And then Lloyd and Aaron go to the Spectral Lands, and Aaron tells Lloyd that he's quitting being a ninja. And then we have the Ross story, right? He comes at the end of the episode, he gets the monster, tells it Geo and Frohike to bow to him, or beg for mercy, and they said, and Geo and Frohike aren't gonna bow, and they're like, we're not afraid of you, we're assisted ninjas, and all that stuff, so they try to escape, and then they run, and Ross comes after them, and yeah, that's what happens. So after this episode, we actually had to wait a few months to get a while to get the episode 19 and 20. So, and then we gotta talk about Ross, the Geo Frohike, Alfonso Frohike, and Rontu fight first with Ross, because that was probably the biggest highlight. That was probably the most entertaining part of this episode. Yeah, this episode, like, that was some beating, and it was a good fight, and honestly, it worked, and Ronta tells Ross that Zarkar would be ashamed of himself ashamed of him, and Roz just defeats Geo. Like Geo's now underneath the monastery or something happened to him. I don't know. Froiki is being dragged off by Roz to tell him where Wu is, and Rontu got beaten. None of them are dead, by the way. They just got beaten badly. And then we have Lloyd and Aaron show up later in Spectral Lands. They go underneath it to put the healing elixir in or whatever it was, like that special device. I forgot what it was. It was broken. And we have Sora, Wildfire, and Frack. They have to make sure there's no noise while Ericor and Xanth try to get the Arc Dragon, one of the other half of the Arc Dragon, a focus of the Ninjago. So, but Rapton comes in, and so they have to stop Rapton from making noise and all that, and stop him from trying to steal from him. And but obviously, like Rapton still steals and gets what he wants at the end of the episode. So, and then we see Kerr coming in. So Kerr's after them. And then Kai and Nia manage to get the Cyclops to leave them alone, and they go and ring their bells, and so yeah, they succeeded. But it's time for the big finale, and in this episode, they have to stop the Kerr and Zart from destroying their bells. So that's what the ninjas been basically doing, while Lloyd and Aaron summon the Arc Dragon of Focus, and they control them, and they managed to defeat Thunderfang at the end of this episode. So yeah, congratulations to them. They defeat them, and Jay comes back to help Nia, and manages to defeat Zark, and says that he may not remember them, but Jay's gonna stick around. And for Ryu learns how to use Spinjitzu against Kerr, so defeats Kerr. And then the other three, like I said, they don't do anything in this episode, so it's like ridiculous. But then, so everybody's unhollowed, but then the ninjas lose their powers. Like they feel strange. Like the ninjas are starting to lose their powers again, or if it's like unstable and all that. So they try to go back to the monastery, all of them, but then they get separated into different realms. So yeah, Kanye are in the Dark Realm. Frack, Sora, and Wildfire, and Ryu are in this grass area where the Shadow Dojo is, and then Lloyd and Aaron are in that woods area, which is apparently called the Whispering Woods. So yeah, and then we have so your Ras captures Wu, and then the flow, motion, and energy, they talk amongst each other how the cycle will be ending soon. So that's not good. And Cole is fine, by the way. He's safe, and and they'll find a way. And that's pretty much the end of this season. Overall, the season was good. Maybe not as best as better than maybe not as good as the other two seasons of Dragons Rising, but season 3 part 2 is good. I'm looking forward to season 4 coming out soon in the spring season. So yeah, I mean, stay tuned for the next season breakdown later on in 2026. So hope you all enjoyed my breakdown of this season 3. So and next season is with the 15th anniversary. So maybe we'll hopefully we get some other cool stuff, because like the sets look cool, and yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing more of Dragons Rising. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya. Bye everyone. Bye.